You're not imagining it. She's sitting next to you on the couch, phone in her hand, quiet. Not angry exactly, just different. You ask what's wrong and she says, nothing. But the room changes anyway. And now your brain starts racing. Did I do something? Why does she feel so far away all of a sudden? Why is she acting cold if she wants me close? Why does every small thing suddenly feel loaded? Here's the part most men completely miss. When a woman wants your attention emotionally, she usually won't ask for it directly first. Not because she's manipulative, not because she likes games, but because her nervous system is trying to answer one terrifying question beneath the surface. If I show my need honestly, will you move toward me or away from me? And bro, that changes everything. Because most of the behaviors men call dramatic, confusing, or mixed signals are often emotional bids for connection that were never understood correctly in the first place. You're not failing at relationships. And this is not a sign that she's impossible to love. Most couples stand in this exact space at some point. Two people wanting connection while accidentally triggering distance in each other instead. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the hidden ways women ask for attention emotionally, why men often misread those moments completely, and how to respond in a way that creates safety, closeness, and real connection instead of more walls. Let's get into it. Most people in relationships believe attention is about words. She should just say what she needs. He should just communicate better. But the real truth is far deeper than that. Human beings rarely ask for emotional connection logically when they feel emotionally unsafe. They signal it indirectly first. That's attachment theory in real life. Your partner's nervous system is reading your tone, your presence, your attention, your facial expression, long before their conscious mind organizes those feelings into clean communication. And when emotional safety starts leaving a relationship, love doesn't disappear. It goes underground. That's why what looks like nagging is often longing. What looks like distance is often protection. What looks like attitude is sometimes hurt that never found language. Most couples completely miss this because they only react to behavior. They never learn to hear the feeling beneath the behavior. And here's what nobody explains. A woman who feels emotionally disconnected usually does not become less emotional. She becomes more reactive, more withdrawn, more sarcastic, more quiet, more easily hurt, because her nervous system is trying to restore connection without directly risking rejection. Not manipulation, not games, not irrationality, just a human being trying to feel chosen again. And once you understand that, you stop seeing her as too much. You start seeing the unspoken longing beneath the surface. That's where everything changes. She starts complaining about small things. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples think arguments begin because of the actual issue. The dishes, the texting, the late reply, the forgotten plans. But emotionally, that's almost never the real fight. The deeper truth is that many women use small complaints as emotional probes. Not consciously, not strategically, but because criticism often feels safer than vulnerability. Saying, "You never help around here," feels less terrifying than saying, "I miss feeling important to you." And her nervous system may not even realize that's what she's actually asking for. So instead of hearing, "You're failing," you have to learn to hear the hidden sentence beneath it. "Please reconnect with me." Most men defend themselves immediately. "I literally cleaned yesterday. You're overreacting. You always do this." And now both people feel alone. But the connecting version sounds different. Instead of reacting to the complaint, you respond to the emotion beneath it. "Hey, I know this probably isn't just about the dishes. Talk to me. What's really been weighing on you lately?" And something in her quietly relaxes, because her brain is registering, "He's trying to understand me instead of defeat me." That's when conflict stops feeling like combat and starts becoming repair. And that shift turns emotional distance into connection again. She gets weirdly quiet. This is where it gets really interesting. Most people in relationships assume silence means disinterest, but often silence means overwhelm, especially for someone who no longer feels emotionally safe expressing disappointment openly. What looks withdrawn on the outside is often a nervous system protecting itself on the inside, not punishment, not emotional games, protection. Because when someone feels repeatedly unheard, eventually they stop reaching. Not because they stopped caring, because reaching started feeling painful. It's like emotional scar tissue, built slowly over hundreds of tiny moments where connection was missed. Most men panic in this moment and either pressure her harder or emotionally check out too. What's your problem? If you're mad, just say it. Fine, be like that. But here's what changes everything. Emotionally available people don't just react to words. They notice shifts. The connecting response sounds more like, "Hey, you seem farther away tonight. I could be wrong, but I just want you to know I'm here." That sentence matters deeply, because her internal monologue often sounds like, "Wait, he noticed." And honestly, man, feeling emotionally noticed is one of the deepest forms of intimacy that exists. That's the shift that makes your relationship feel less like two roommates surviving life together and more like two people actually turning toward each other again. She picks fights right before you leave. And this is the one most couples never figure out. Most people think these moments are about control, but beneath the surface, they're usually about attachment anxiety. When emotional connection already feels shaky, physical separation can trigger deeper fears of abandonment. So right before you leave for work, before a trip, before a boys' night, suddenly she's irritated, defensive, cold. And you're thinking, why does this always happen at the worst time? But her nervous system may actually be asking, "Are we okay before you go?" Not louder conversations, not more explaining, not walking on eggshells, but reassurance, presence, emotional steadiness. That's what changes the entire emotional tone. Most men respond defensively. "I'm literally just going out. You're making this a bigger deal than it is." And now her fear quietly deepens. But the emotionally mature response sounds different. "Hey, before I leave, come here for a second. I know we've both been stressed lately, but we're okay. I love you." Simple, real, grounded. And what moves through her internally is, I still matter to him even when his attention is somewhere else. That's not weakness. That's emotional leadership. And when you do that consistently, the walls between you start coming down without either of you forcing them to. She suddenly wants your attention after feeling ignored. Here's what nobody explains. Attention is not the same thing as connection. You can live together, sleep together, talk every day, and still feel emotionally abandoned. Most couples slowly drift because they stop being present with each other in small moments, and intimacy dies quietly. Not during explosions, during distraction. Scrolling while she talks, half listening, always tired, always busy. Eventually, her nervous system starts adapting to emotional starvation, so she becomes louder emotionally. Maybe she interrupts more, maybe she becomes clingier, maybe she suddenly seems needy. But beneath the surface, what she often feels is, "I miss you even though you're right here." Bro, that one hurts. Most men hear neediness and pull away harder. But withdrawal usually amplifies the cycle, because anxious and avoidant patterns feed each other automatically. And here's what changes everything. This isn't a communication hack. This is what emotionally present people naturally do. They pause, they look up, they turn toward the person they love. Instead of saying, "uh-huh," while staring at your phone, try, "Wait, start over. I want to actually hear this." Tiny moment, massive emotional impact. Because intimacy isn't built in grand gestures. It's built in 30-second moments where someone feels emotionally chosen. That's when your partner stops feeling like a responsibility to manage and starts feeling like home again. She tests your emotional presence. This one makes a lot of men uncomfortable, because most couples misunderstand emotional testing completely. Not manipulation, not toxicity, not mind games. Usually, it's someone unconsciously checking whether connection is still safe. A woman might say, "You don't even care anymore." And logically, you want to defend yourself immediately. "That's not true. Look at everything I do for you." But emotionally, she may really be asking, "Can I still reach you emotionally? Or are you gone already?" That's the real question beneath the surface. Most men respond with facts, but emotional connection responds to presence first. So instead of fighting the accusation instantly, try slowing down long enough to hear the fear inside it. Hey, I know you've been feeling disconnected from me lately. I don't want you carrying that alone. And suddenly, the entire nervous system dynamic changes. Because what she's quietly hearing is, he's staying with me emotionally instead of escaping the moment. And man, that matters more than most people realize. Your nervous system during conflict is like a smoke detector. It cannot always tell the difference between emotional rejection and actual danger. So when someone feels emotionally abandoned, their reactions become bigger, sharper, more protective. Not because they want chaos, because they want reassurance. And when you understand that, you stop trying to win emotional moments. You start learning how to stay inside them without disappearing. That's real intimacy. This isn't about becoming perfect, and it's definitely not about agreeing with everything she says. It's about becoming emotionally available enough to recognize what's actually happening beneath the surface instead of reacting only to the behavior in front of you. Because when you internalize this, you stop seeing attention-seeking as annoyance and start seeing it as longing that doesn't yet feel safe enough to speak directly. And honestly, that awareness alone changes the emotional climate of a relationship more than most grand romantic gestures ever will. These aren't tricks to handle women. They're signs of emotional maturity, of presence, of learning how to love someone without making them fight to feel chosen by you. Because the strongest relationships are not built by two perfect people. They're built by two people who learn how to recognize each other's unspoken pain before it turns into distance. And the relationship you want begins the moment you stop asking, how do I win this interaction? And start asking, how do I make this person feel emotionally safe with me again?